The straw was filthy. The air stank of sweat, blood, and boiled barley. You were 12, barefoot, bruised, and already too slow. In Sparta's barracks, that meant pain. There were no soft beds, no second chances. You slept with your cloak or froze, ate with your hands or starved. Miss a drill? Expect a beating. Boys fought for food, stole what they could, and learned to strike without hesitation. Crying wasn't weakness, it was punishment. By dawn, you'd either bled or proven you belonged. But one night was enough to break most outsiders. In Sparta, softness didn't survive. Neither did mercy. Step back with me into the heart of ancient Sparta, where the gentle embrace of childhood is abruptly torn away, making room for a relentless march toward warriorhood. At the tender age of 7, a Spartan boy departs from the warmth of home into the formidable gauntlet of the Agoge. His mother, with eyes like silent pools of unshed tears, offers a final embrace, the language of farewell between the heart and duty. In this stark land, the bonds of familial love are repurposed into a hardened will, a tribute to Spartan ideals, where endurance supersedes tenderness. Crossing the threshold of the Agoge, the young boy is enveloped by cacophony, the shouts and clamour of countless other boys forming a symphony of survival. In the barracks, soft beds are replaced with harsh straw, and the lullabies of home give way to the restless chorus of youthful energy. The air, thick with raw ambition, tests their instincts, fostering alliances and rivalries within these austere walls. Here, identity is forged anew, individuality sacrificed on the altar of unity, as the collective vitality of Spartan society beats like a war drum around them. Night in the barracks offers no respite. On the unyielding ground, sleep is a fragile luxury. Young Spartans lie on straw, wrestling with restlessness that binds them in shared discomfort. Nights are punctuated by whispered conversations among boys cultivating camaraderie, a born of common trials. This arena of relentless discipline sows the seeds of endurance, the prickle of straw, etching lessons into skin and soul alike. In sleeplessness, they discover strength, the tender dreams of childhood replaced by the fortress of Spartan resolve, ever increasing as dawn breaks with the unyielding rhythm of tradition. Lessons here speak through pain. Instructors wield whips with precision, scarring the skin but moulding the spirit. Pain is persistent, a relentless teacher, demanding resilience, its lashings recounting tales of survival not written in ink but born in flesh. The young boys soon understand that vulnerability is a forgotten tongue, replaced by a dialect of scars marking their journey toward a unifying Spartan identity. Each wound, each bruise transforms fear into courage, tethers of shared suffering binding them in a brotherhood tempered by pain and purpose. Hunger shadows their steps constantly. Spartan meals, a thin broth with poultry scraps, are designed to instill necessity-born ingenuity. This relentless battle for sustenance pushes the boys to hone their instincts and test their wits, forging their will. Through stealthy raids and cunning diversions, ingenuity becomes currency. Fallible hunger drives solidarity among peers. Alliances forged as collective ingenuity triumphs against the harsh environment. Here, scarcity is more than deprivation. It is a tactical exercise that sharpens young minds for the complexities of war and life beyond. In this unyielding world, camaraderie provides warmth denied by the forbidding night. Words are chosen sparingly, each uttered merely when absolutely necessary, with a thoughtful pause and with deliberate intent. Silence here is not an absence. Rather, it is a profound presence that coerces introspection. It is a playground for the mind, where sparse syllables are crafted into tools of precision. Observing others' mistakes, language evolves into a discipline itself in the Agoge, enabling a young boy to transform reticence into a well-honed strategic advantage amid the wary shadows of Spartan norms. Ambushes on moonlit nights become a theatre of shadows and spectres, each skirmish an education in the arts of war. Young Spartans are stripped of naivety, gaining the patience and agility of warriors through these nocturnal encounters. Under darkness, the brutal choreography of ambush and counterattack forges stealth into second nature. Valleys of fear become mountains of courage, teaching these boys the evanescent balance of trust and caution essential to survival. Embers of the Agoge fuel their tenacity, shaping both cunning and valour into their very bones. As dusk settles, the barracks cloak themselves in chill. Fires remain forbidden, denied as luxuries, leaving boys to huddle together for warmth. Cold becomes another instructor, demanding resilience in friendship or self-reliance. Through shared hardships, cold carves away dependency, constructing fortitude that shelters youth from the brutal world. With no protection but their own inner fires, the boys fashion courage, emerging from night's test with a warmth born not of fire, but of the relentless Spartan spirit stoked within. As dawn unfurls its banner across the Spartan landscape, the transformation is evident. No longer children, these figures emerge from the crucible, not resplendent, but resolute, marked by the labours of harsh instruction. They awake with a clarity born of night's trials, their spirits resonating with an unyielding resolve, a slow ascent toward identities hammered onto the anvil of youth by Sparta's demanding right. Through silenced grief, abandoned comforts, and the searing hope that imbues Spartan existence, they leave behind a piece of themselves, stepping into a new dawn as sculpted warriors. A destiny forged in iron, tempered by the resolute embrace of Spartan law. In the dim corridors of Sparta's barracks, the air hangs heavy with the scent of melasomos, a thin metal-tinged broth that serves as the main sustenance for the young recruits. The dining experience here is no leisurely affair. It unfolds like a test of endurance. Each boy approaches the cauldron in grim silence, grasping his small portion with the understanding that this meagre serving is a test of restraint. As they sit down to eat, the scene is more reminiscent of an arena than a dining hall. Eyes dart between one another, ever watchful, as they shovel the broth into their mouths, the slurping sound the only indication of their rapid consumption. Conversation is sparse, held in check by the unspoken code that demands efficiency over comfort. Speaking, they quickly discover, is an extravagance they can scarcely afford. The Spartan ideal thrives on brevity, creating a world where a single word holds the weight of a lengthy discourse. This discipline-trained habit, known as laconic speech, is enforced with a rigour that leaves little room for error. The boys learn to measure every word, speaking only when necessary, and ensuring each utterance conveys the intended message with precision. Errors in this economy of words are met with swift correction, as too many words could betray uncertainty or a lapse in discipline. Survival in the barracks requires more than just adherence to speaking norms. It demands cunning in the pursuit of nourishment. While the daily rations barely stave off hunger, the art of stealing food becomes an unwritten rule of survival. Success in theft is celebrated not for the spoils gained, but for the cleverness exhibited in avoiding discovery. Those who fail to execute their subtle theft with finesse face harsh punishment. It's a lesson in vigilance where discretion becomes as valuable as sustenance. Kindness, though, is scarcely to be trusted. In this harsh environment, overt displays of empathy are a double-edged sword, often wielded more for humiliation than comfort. The boys learn to wear a mask of stoic indifference, wary of any gesture that might be misinterpreted as weakness. Yet, beneath this exterior lies an unspoken camaraderie, a network of shared hardships and silent acknowledgements. In fleeting glances and brief, meaningful nods, they communicate their understanding and support, fostering a bond that may not speak aloud, but resonates in the silent solidarity they forge. Tears, too, are a rare commodity, reserved for solitary moments away from prying eyes. A Spartan boy learns quickly that tears, when shed publicly, mark him for ridicule or worse. Emotional fortitude is not just encouraged, it's ruthlessly enforced. Yet within the private sanctum of darkness, the harsh exterior gives way to moments of true vulnerability. The lesson learned is not the suppression of feeling, but the mastery over its expression, a shield in a world that respects only strength. Sleep, like conversation and kindness, comes in precious fragments, its rhythm more akin to a soldier's watch than a child's rest. Interrupted by nocturnal drills and sudden ambushes, slumber is a whimsical benefactor, allowing just enough repose to keep exhaustion at bay. This broken rest breeds a constant state of readiness, sharpening the senses to every creak of leather, every whisper of the chilly wind against stone walls. Through this, the boys cultivate an acute sensitivity, a silent awareness that weaves itself into the very fabric of their being. Amidst this challenging existence, mockery flourishes as a tool for shaping character. While instructors enforce discipline openly, their peers wield scorn, with a subtlety reminiscent of sculptors carving stone. Mistakes become public spectacles, where cutting words and derisive laughter serve to refine weaknesses into strengths. Such was the Spartan method: punishment through exposure, growth through public failure. Trust, meanwhile, wears a thin guise. Betrayal lurks in every shadow, making genuine alliances as rare as gold dust. Yet in this climate of suspicion, unlikely partnerships arise. A shared nod here, a surreptitious look out there. This balance between mistrust and necessity reflects an understanding that, amidst solitary struggles, a tenuous alliance can prove invaluable. The echoes of modern morality find little foothold here. What the larger Greek world might decry as inhumane or severe, Spartan life embraces as necessity. Within the rigid confines of their upbringing, the boys adopt a code that eschews the softness of their counterparts. Mercy and compassion are redefined, wrapped in threads of practicality and survival. For the Spartans, silence becomes more than just the absence of sound. It matures into a formidable force. In mastering it, they find power, a command over self that projects authority and resilience. As they grow, this quiet confidence becomes a testament to their training, a reminder of the battles they have fought within and those that await beyond. This mastery over silence, tempered by endurance and honed through discipline, marks the Spartan as a figure both unyielding and resolute. In the austere barracks of ancient Sparta, the veil of night seldom brought solace. Instead, it heralded the beginning of a daunting education, a harsh immersion where shadows became adversaries, merging reality with fear. The young Spartans understood that darkness signified both chaos and opportunity, a world where traditional rules dissolved and a new, unsettling normalcy was embraced. Within this unfettered arena, Spartan boys navigated corridors that seemed to pulse with unseen threats, places where instinct alone dictated survival. For those still grappling with the rigours of Spartan discipline, the night was less about physical dominance and more a crucible for mental resilience. There, barely discernible whispers of crickets and distant farm creatures played a haunting dirge, underscoring the silent struggles that reshaped children into warriors through these ancient rites. Upon entering the barracks, a young Spartan was swiftly inducted into this world where survival tactics had to become second nature. There was no gentle learning curve, only a swift plunge into nocturnal struggles devoid of fairness or mercy. These nightly combats served less as mere contests of strength and more as initiations into a deeper understanding about perseverance and resourcefulness. No overseers watched to ensure equity. Instead, all that waited for the uninitiated were the remorseless demonstrations of those ahead in experience. Senior boys who acted not only as mentors, but as brutal enforcers of the harsh lessons imbued by tradition. In this raw environment, age brought with it a daring confidence, often manifested as aggression. The older boys leveraged these skirmishes to cement their dominance, ensuring that the weak, the tentative, were swiftly weeded from the pack. Yet within this sphere of intimidation grew an unusual bond. The shared endurance of hardship forged a collective spirit among the young Spartans. Kinship not through blood but through bruises, camaraderie through shared survival. Pain was seen through the Spartans' eyes as progress personified, a necessary catalyst on their path to becoming formidable warriors. With each clash, the knight stripped away comfort and security, leaving fears exposed while revealing latent potential. The young soldiers learned to see beyond mere suffering, to appreciate pain as a stern yet invaluable tutor. Wounds and bruises, accumulated under the cold scrutiny of the moon, were celebrated as badges of enduring wisdom, illuminated milestones in their hard-fought education that daylight could never match. Amidst these unsettling ceremonies, resilience emerged as the most revered lesson. The art of endurance became central to their nighttime endeavours. Spartans were taught to remain unflinching, even amidst chaos, to maintain composure when faced with disturbing trials. Each scar, each fracture spoken of fortitude, and an inner valour that Spartans held dear. Enduring was not just desirable, but non-negotiable. Each nocturnal trial reinforcing a young Spartan's confidence in his ability to withstand and overcome. Yet, within this brutal crucible also grew a profound sense of brotherhood. The chaotic maelstrom of nightly brawls birthed solidarity, an understanding that they were not solitary figures battling an unseen enemy, but part of a collective strife. Amidst blows and shouts, amidst the ebbing flow of violence, alliances were formed, binding them in an unspoken vow of mutual support. Bonds built under such duress were less about tender friendship and more a testament to the strength that sprung from necessity. Through adversity, their fraternity was strengthened, interwoven with a resolve that prepared them for life's wider conflicts. Fear, ever present in this nocturnal stage, was transformed from a paralysing spectre to an instructive guide through this harsh territory. It taught them to sharpen instincts, to turn anxiety into awareness. Young Spartans came to realise fear wasn't just a foe to conquer outright, but a mentor pushing them beyond preconceived limits, toward a profound acceptance of their capabilities and a deeper self-awareness. The nightly rituals, though harsh, facilitated extraordinary transformations. What initially began as terrifying ordeals evolved into catalysts for profound personal change. Boys shed the remnants of their childhood psyche, emerging with a steely resolve reflecting Spartan ideals. These trials instilled in them lessons of discipline, unwavering loyalty, and pragmatic endurance, qualities demanded by their martial society. As stars flickered above their silent trials, each young Spartan gradually embodied the core tenets of the warrior tradition that held Greece enthralled. Through these night games, courage underpinned every movement, every decision. They were called to personify ideals of defiance and resilience, bearing the weight of ancestral expectations in their burgeoning sinews. As they grappled beneath the nocturnal canopy, each act, each wound nudged them closer to this formidable archetype, ensuring they emerged as torchbearers of the Spartan way. Ultimately, the boys were inculcated with a culture where resilience wasn't just an aspiration, but a tenet embedded in the soul. Critics may have found barbarity in such traditions, but to Spartans it was the method by which greatness persevered, enabling their legacy to endure amid an uncertain world. Every nocturnal confrontation whispered of this enduring ethos, reminding all that true victory lay not in the defeat of an opponent, but in the unyielding spirit that faced such challenges, and thus carried the torch of Spartan resilience onward, unceasing against the ravages of time. In the chilling shadow of Spartan barracks, there formed not just a collection of boys, but a brotherhood, forged in the relentless fires of necessity. From the age of 7, young Spartans were cast into this shadowy world, where the cold stones of the barracks mirrored the indifference of the society that placed them there. These boys, known as Paides, navigated a harsh landscape where standing alone was akin to courtship with death. Alliances were not a choice but a lifeline. Loyalty to the group became an instinct as primal as breathing. In these bonds, pinned between rivalry and camaraderie, began the indoctrination of dependency on the group's durability as much as on one's steel. The Spartan system carved out brotherhoods from these fledgling souls, binding them through shared adversities. They slept on bare ground, ate from shared scraps, and even learned to fight as a unit. The stark realities surrounding them dictated that individuality faded into the background, each boy becoming a part of a greater, breathing entity. While they competed fiercely to rise in status within the group, they knew fully well that survival often meant relying on the person next to them. Rituals of inclusion solidified their ties, demanding acts of bravery and stealth that stretched each boy's limits. These trials were not merely tests of physical prowess. They were a crucible for forming bonds more durable than iron. However, the consequences of failing this pact were dire. A lone wolf was a dead wolf in the world of Sparta. To falter in this environment meant ridicule, or worse, isolation. To stumble was to let down the group, which translated into being ostracized, a fate arguably worse than the lash of any whip. Falling out of line painted a target on one's back, inviting nightly raids by older boys eager to punish weakness. The tragedy of failure reminded them that in Sparta strength was a communal gift, while deviation often brought an exile with no redemption. For those who sensed the icy touch of exclusion, life became a downward spiral of visible shame. Meals came last, whispers trailed wherever they walked. Failure meant cold indifference during training, extra punishment, more rigorous chores, until what little spirit is left either hardened or shattered completely. Away from the warm circle of the brotherhood, each day was a battle against insurmountable odds. a silent war against a loneliness that could cripple even the stout-hearted. Interwoven into this web of kinship and rivalry was the subtle role of the Spartan elders. These sagely overseers orchestrated the social dynamics, subtly nudging boys toward interconnectedness. With seasoned eyes, they watched the daily fray, their interventions sure but unseen. They understood that nurturing loyalty was more than just enforcing rules. It was about creating an environment where trust and loyalty could naturally flourish. Through a balance of wisdom and authority, they sculpted the raw clay of Spartan youths into warriors, aware that the strength of any phalanx lay in its cohesion. Rituals of inclusion were countered by exclusion's brutality, where public shaming was an educational tool. Boys who transgressed faced not only physical punishment, but the chilling threat of being cut off socially. Ostracism reinforced societal norms and instilled an unforgiving lesson on the value of conformity. The procedures were harsh for a reason, breaking a boy to mould him anew into the ideal Spartan mindset. Yet, even in severity, there lingered a glimmer of care, for Spartan life aimed not to destroy, but to temper. Amidst this ritual and rivalry, camaraderie thrived. In fostering trust amid fierce competition, Sparta ensured that its warriors were not only individually skilled, but also unified. Group exercises and challenges intertwined their fates and fortunes, creating a complex lattice of interdependent bonds. Loyalty was not just valued, it was a necessity. Trust, carefully cultivated, allowed these bonds to form, creating an unshakable mutual reliance, essential for future battles. These friendships, born of necessity and nurtured through the fires of adversity, knit the community into an unbreakable wall. Thus, the bonds formed in the Spartan barracks endured far beyond youth, ripening into steadfast alliances in later life. They were kinship forged in hardship, deep as any familial tie, carried proudly into adulthood. These relationships not only fortified the Spartan phalanx, but also reinforced a network that extended into all aspects of Spartan society. Each life experience was shared, each triumph reflected in the eyes of a brother. So emerged the legacy of Sparta, grounded not merely in individual might, but in the collective strength of its indomitable spirit. This unity, forged in the crucible of the Spartan way, ensured their line continued unbroken, the whisper of ancient brotherhood echoing through time. In the bone-chilling depths of Spartan nights, young boys of the Agoge are drawn to the elusive warmth. But in the barracks, fire is a forbidden luxury. Here in the stark landscape, amidst the towering mountains and swift rivers, nights grow cold enough to test the resilience of even the hardiest souls. The Spartan ethos is one that venerates endurance above all, and the absence of fire serves as a crucible, forging these young boys in an environment that mirrors the unyielding nature of their society. Spartan nights are relentless, teaching them to summon an inner fire born out of sheer endurance. The barracks, sparse and unadorned, are constructed from the most basic materials, wood and rough stone. The cold seeps in through every crevice, echoing the Spartan disdain for comfort and ease. Each boy sleeps straight on the hard stone floor, wrapped only in his tunic, stripped of blankets that are withheld unless earned through merit. This unforgiving environment moulds them, hardening both body and mind against the inevitable discomfort. Over time, they learn to dismiss the chill, accepting it as inherent to their Spartan existence. The whispers of the barracks carry the relentless message of the society they are striving to become a part of. merciless, stark, and unbending. Owning something as simple as a blanket becomes a powerful symbol of achievement in this world. It is a coveted item, awarded only to those who proved their mettle through trials of skill and tenacity. Every victory, every minor gain in this austere setting is a conquest. To navigate the complex social hierarchy and earn such a prize involves not only personal bravery but also an understanding that places the needs of the group above the individual. It is a lesson in Spartan unity, where cooperation and competition are two sides of the same coin. The guards, themselves veterans of the very trials these boys now face, patrol the barracks with a calculated detachment. Years of conditioning have rendered them indifferent to the cold, their eyes fixed on a singular goal, the transformation of boys into warriors. Their presence is a constant, shaping the young Spartans' understanding of duty and stoicism. The guard's silent gaze judges not with malice but with the cold objectivity that defines Spartan resolve. Compassion is alien in this arena, where hardship is a teacher, calling forth the strong from the ranks of the weak. Every night in the Spartan barracks is a lesson in cold endurance. It is a battle fought not just with the elements, but within the confines of the boys' minds, forcing them to nurture mental fortitude through continuous adversity. This suffering isn't merely tolerated, but embraced as part of Spartan pedagogy. It teaches them to turn adversity into strength, reframing pain as a tactical challenge, much like hunger, fatigue, or fear. In accepting the chill, they find themselves rising above the mundane, evolving into warriors defined not merely by physical prowess, but by an indomitable will. Emotional austerity is ingrained, an expectation as much a part of their training as any combat skill. The chill of the nights mirrors the emotional frigidity demanded of them, where they learn to master their inner turmoil. Vulnerability is ruthlessly exposed in this collective living space, where every boy must armour himself against his own fears and the scorn of peers. Suppressing emotions becomes second nature, a necessity for survival in a world where feelings are seen as liabilities. Yet amidst this deprivation, Spartan boys learn to create warmth of a different kind. Devoid of physical fire, they kindle an internal blaze, the fire of willpower. It becomes their beacon, a source of resolve amid the barrenness of their environment. This inner strength drives them beyond the limits of endurance, teaching them that adversity fosters resourcefulness. It cultivates a resilience that becomes innate, ingrained in their every action, shaping them into warriors whose strength lies as much in spirit as in body. The denial of fire serves a deeper philosophical purpose, deeply rooted in Spartan beliefs about luxury and necessity. Hardening through continual challenge is seen as the path to enduring strength, and deprivation is not arbitrary, but a deliberate strategy to inculcate the virtues of discipline and self-reliance. This rite of passage, one that every Spartan boy must withstand, forges them anew, separating those capable of bearing the mantle of Spartan warriors from those who are not. In these icy nights, bonds are forged through mutual suffering, a brotherhood born of shared adversity. The boys huddle together, drawing strength not from the warmth of fire, but from the warmth of unity. Each becomes an essential piece of a larger whole, turning individual hardship into collective resilience. Between them grows an unspoken understanding that resonates with Spartan ideals. While individual excellence is prized, survival is a collective endeavour. Thus, the Spartan boys face these frigid trials, and as they endure the bitter nights, they emerge, transformed. The process is a forge, each morning revealing boys who are a step closer to embodying the ideals of their civilization. They rise from rigid slumber, steeled against softness, taking another march toward becoming the warriors of Sparta, relentless, resolute and unyielding. In the harsh reality of the Agoge, the practice of stealing is not a youthful indiscretion, but a calculated necessity. As a young Spartan thrust into this rigorous training ground, you're quickly introduced to the art of thievery. With resources intentionally made scarce, every meal becomes a test of endurance, a lesson in restraint. It's not merely about silencing the persistent growl of hunger. It's about honing a skill that sharpens your wits and enhances your ability to strategize and adapt. Here, stealing becomes a rite of passage, a vital skill that solidifies your place within the community, cementing your identity in Spartan society. If you succeed, you earn the quiet respect of your peers, an acknowledgement of your cunning and nerve amidst the unspoken rules of survival. However, the paradox of Spartan life lies in the punishment of failure rather than the act of theft itself. With each successful theft, there's an unspoken nod of approval, a silent celebration of cunning over complacency. But failure invites brutal consequences. Imagine being caught with a loaf still warm in your hands. The sharp command of a trainer reverberates through you, igniting a mix of fear and shame. It isn't the theft that condemns you, but the incompetence of being caught. As you're dragged into the yard, indifferent eyes watch. Relieved, it's you suffering the consequence, not them. What follows is not just a punishment, but an education in pain and humility, each lash from the whip, a lesson in resilience and acceptance. This public demonstration instills a shared knowledge within the community. Never fail. Each scar is not just a testament to survival, but a badge of hard-earned wisdom. In the palpable tension of the barracks, what you take is not merely a measure of sustenance, but a reflection of your standing among peers. It fosters a silent competition, where the stakes are both personal and communal. Success brings silent accolades, a wordless recognition of skill, while failure isolates you in shared disdain. Boys boast of their exploits, and the daring feats become markers of prestige within the unsparing environment, subtly shifting the hierarchy within the barracks. This dynamic of rivalry and camaraderie pushes each boy toward a natural selection, where only the shrewdest survive and thrive. Stealing gradually transforms from necessity into a mental exercise, requiring strategic foresight and precision. Employing tactics akin to a battle strategy, you observe the routines and behaviours of those around you. Over time, each heist becomes a campaign, an early preparation for life on the battlefield. You learn to trust your instincts, to calculate risks and rewards, crafting the mind of a strategic thinker. These lessons form the cornerstone of Spartan training, where every decision, whether successful or not, bolsters confidence and chisels resolve. In this clandestine world, strength is often found in numbers. Many boys team up, forming alliances to improve their odds of success. This collaboration forges bonds stronger than kinship, uniting those who have faced the sting of punishment or the thrill of success together. Trust is built through shared perils, creating an intricate network of alliances within the barracks, preparing you for the united front required in Spartan warfare. Silently, the instructors observe from the shadows, playing a dual role of enabler and examiner. They are the architects of this immersive training, silently placing obstacles that test your craftiness, nurturing prowess over punishment. This guided journey transforms crime into a calculated exercise, teaching you that the battlefield favours the prepared and skilled. Each successful operation is less about crime and more about molding you into a Spartan defined by resilience and cunning. To the uninitiated, the scars left by the whip may seem marks of humiliation, but in Sparta they are integral to your education. Each lash tells a story, an indelible lesson in endurance and resilience. These marks are badges of honor within the community, shared symbols of the challenges faced and overcome. They condition you for the greater trials of Spartan life, imparting a legacy of strength passed down through generations. Beyond its basic function, food transforms into a currency within the barracks, fueling a secret commerce system driven by scarcity. Successful theft fills not just stomachs, but becomes a bargaining chip within this economy. In this market of necessity, boys trade insights and favours, establishing a micro-society echoing broader Spartan understanding. Through barter and exchange, you gain lessons in social dynamics and value, lessons that resonate beyond the confines of the barracks. Over time, the survival instincts fostered by these trials evolve into a strategic mindset. You navigate challenges with increasing sophistication, developing the skills to anticipate and plan, seeing each task as an opportunity for tactical growth. This constant adaptation conditions you for the broader demands of Spartan life, transforming trials into a proactive embrace of challenge. In the quiet of night, there's a moment for reflection, a pause to contemplate the day's trials. Despite the exhaustion, these silent moments offer a clarity beyond the day's struggles. The ethics of your choices, the shaping of identity amidst the rigours of the Agoge, all become clearer under the night stars. Each choice, each challenge faced, becomes a stepping stone in your path to becoming truly Spartan. A journey marked by the dance of triumph and adversity, guiding you until the dawn breaks anew. In ancient Sparta, instructors at the Agoge were figures of legend, not merely teachers, but embodiments of martial prowess and relentless discipline. These veterans, scarred by countless battles, carried the Spartan legacy on their shoulders. Around dimly lit hearths, stories of their bravery etched respect and fear into young hearts, echoing with lessons learned on blood-soaked fields. For recruits, meeting their gaze was like facing a tempest, a test probing not just readiness but the very soul's embrace of Spartan ideals. To these novices the instructors loomed large, their respect hard-won and their fear well-founded. A single word could deny them food or summon a flogging, leaving marks both seen and unseen. Authority was absolute, with no room for excuses. Each misstep offered a harsh but immediate correction. Through a crucible of suffering, boys were to emerge as warriors, feared across Greece. Each encounter transcended mere instruction, offering a fleeting glimpse of the Spartan ideal or a reminder of how far they had to climb. Fear in Spartan training wasn't just a tool of enforcement, it became an art form, wielded with calculated intent. The mere presence of these seasoned warriors was enough to unsettle the breath of any boy, instilling a cocktail of emotions, fear, respect, and a burning hope for approval. This double-edged sword of fear was essential in moulding minds for war's savagery, where hesitation could mean death. Training exposed them repeatedly to fear until numbness set in, preparing them to face the battlefield's nightmares unfazed. A shout, a critique, or a lash weren't just punishments, they were signals, teaching recruits to manage fear, directing it outward into aggression rather than paralysis, crafting a mastery of fearlessness forged through familiarity with fear itself. For these instructors, pain was their medium. wielded like a sculptor's tool to carve boys into men, a wielding that saw beauty in suffering. Each stinging lash, every bruise was a lesson, guiltless and revealing of deeper truths. Introduced early, boys learned to accept pain like an old friend. Over time, the sharp sting transformed into a stubborn, unyielding spirit. Breaking under its weight meant fading into anonymity, but those who embraced it etched their names into history. These instructors, in their mastery of pain, transformed brutality into a solemn promise, not of malice, but monumental change. Merciless precision characterized every instructor's strike, each as deliberate and calculated as a sculptor's chisel. Their blows were instructional, not punitive, targeting weaknesses, be they physical or mental. This accuracy stemmed not from cruelty but from a commitment to crafting warriors, where perfection was the goal. Each precise act stripped away imperfection, revealing the warrior beneath. Such training mirrored the battlefield's demands, where every move bore immense consequence. Deprivation was as potent as the lash. Control over basic comforts was meticulously planned to teach the harsh truths of Spartan survival, where warmth and a full stomach were luxurious dreams. This deprivation taught ruthless efficiency in managing resources, transforming youthful fragility into a cunning readiness. By sleeping sporadically, eating meagerly, and enduring cold, recruits turned these struggles into advantages. This doctrine demanded rising above human needs, forming both body and will for the Spartan life. While physical conditioning honed their bodies, psychological warfare forged their minds. Instructors tested recruits with mental challenges disguised beneath physical exertion. Boys faced games of deceit, learning anticipation, strategy, and the balance of trust and betrayal. These tests, not through discussions but through high-stress scenarios, taught survival through quick thinking. Mental gymnastics honed wit, forging minds as battle-ready as bodies. In Spartan discipline, a unique language emerged, spoken not in words but rigorously enforced actions and expressions. This silent dialogue required acknowledgement of a rigid hierarchy. Every order, punishment, and silence was a conversation shaping recruits into warriors. Instructors corrected with precision, leaving no defiance unnoticed. A constant, relentless march toward excellence. Kindness in this harsh world was a rare weapon, deployed with strategic precision. A brief moment of leniency, a surprising compliment, served not as comfort, but leverage. Used sparingly, kindness kept recruits striving, reinforcing discipline subtly yet powerfully. The rare praise was more potent than harshness, tying them to a discipline deeper than any lash. Leadership understood the impact of encouragement woven into the fabric of training. Ultimately, discipline at the Agoge wasn't pure control, but a harmony of chaos and order, a duality of coexisting fury and command. Training forced boys to balance structure and disorder, a necessity for victory in battle's chaos. This duality was taught to ensure adaptability, marrying instinct with strategy. In the end, the instructor's true legacy lay not in stories, but in flesh and bone. Each scar and hardened muscle was a testament to transformation. For those emerging from the Agoge, every mark was a badge of honour, proclaiming their passage to warriorhood. This legacy of endurance and identity was woven into the Spartan ethos, ensuring that each warrior carried forward the unyielding presence of their formidable instructors. These men became legends, embodying the pulse of Spartan life, where discipline was more than education, it was life itself. In the stillness of the Spartan barracks as night falls An unseen presence coils around the room. The boys lie down, feigning sleep beneath thin coverings, aware but silent, knowing the elders' vigilant eyes roam the shadows. These shadows are not just the absence of light, but a cloak for the silent judges, the keepers of tradition and authority. The elders glide through the corridors with an almost unnaturally silent step, creating a phantom presence that weighs heavy on young souls. Every creak and draught of cold air seems to carry their ethereal judgment. For these boys, hardened by day yet vulnerable under night skies, awareness becomes a shield against this ghostly evaluation. Their spirits are measured not just by how they endure the day's rigour, but by how they withstand the vulnerabilities of the night. The elders, stoic and unwavering, embody the continuity of a society that demands perfection and silence. With wisdom free of need for speech, they assess with a gaze that pierces the bravest facade. No voice commands here. Their passage is a haunting whisper, embedding the understanding that in Sparta, one's real test lies in psychological endurance. Under their spectral gaze, every shiver, every whispered fear is noted and recalled, converting small lapses into tomorrow's repercussions. In this space, the line blurs between vigilance and paranoia, leaking like sweat onto the cold stone floors. The elders, through these silent patrols, transcend mere oversight, becoming stewards of discipline and enforcers of an ancient rite, transforming imperfection into a catalyst for swifter punishment. Posture becomes a silent conversation, a testament to individual discipline amidst the shared struggle. Each silhouette tells a story as the elders pass, checking the lines of sleeping forms for even the slightest sign of relaxation. A slouched shoulder betrays not just a lapse in stance, but hints at a faltering mind, a breach in the relentless quest for Spartan perfection. Maintaining posture, even in slumber, is not mere decorum. It is a declaration that the training's fierce lessons have been absorbed. An errant posture finds its way into the unseen ledger of sins, a record waiting to justify morning corrections. In Sparta's world, the body is not one's own, but an emblem of unyielding mental resolve, required to mirror the rigid values of collective spirit, lest individuality become fragility and rebellion. Yet beneath the inspection of the physical lies an even deeper evaluation. The elders gauge reactions, seeking not just the steel of muscles, but the resilience of the soul. A touch in the night, a sudden sound. These provoke instinctive reactions that speak loudly of a boy's true nature. Do they flinch, or do they stand firm? These spontaneous moments unmask the bravado, giving way to raw truths. In them lies the measure of prospective warriors, determining who will stand resolute in battles when chaos reigns. The nighttime trials peel back layers of pretend courage, exposing the unrefined instincts of survival. The elders interpret fear as a defect, tirelessly seeking to fortify spirit and body alike. Boys must reimagine every reflex, ingraining perfect composure into their very being, transforming fear into fortitude under the night's watchful eyes. A Spartan boy's endurance doesn't end in physical trials, but extends to the depths of willpower. In the thick of night, the elders notice those who surrender to exhaustion versus those who resolutely embrace discomfort. These moments in the dark are trials by fire, honing young minds to draw silently upon untapped reserves of strength. Where daylight judges the body, night assesses the spirit. Each chill, each ache becomes an anvil shaping the warrior's character, forging a survival instinct that spills beyond the barrack walls. Elders detect those who rise defiantly against adversity, recognizing an inner resilience that would one day uphold Sparta's valorous expectations. It is within these private battles that boys grapple with the heritage of fighters, sharpening their identity into one that matches the unwavering granite of their mentors' expectations. The elders maintain an invisible ledger, a silent testament that guides the new day's trials. Impressions are made and stored not in ink but in memory, charting each boy's progress through the Agoge. This invisible document dictates who faces the harsh echo of a whip or the mercy of a teacher's silence. Within it, the tapestry of Spartan success is woven, a precise mix of unflinching discipline and tradition. Unseen to the boys, their every motion, trembling or steady, is an entry, a note leading forth into history or defeat. By morning, the judgments crafted in shadow-forged reality, shaping destinies with unyielding precision. This all unfolds beneath the elders' selective silence, a force more instructive than any spoken decree. The absence of a reprimand, the withholding of praise, this silence is a cryptic language of expectations. The lessons of what isn't said teach the sharpest minds to uncover their own weaknesses and strengths, propelling them to forge resilience amidst constant scrutiny. Amid the silence, a small spoken word or gesture from an elder carries tremendous weight, stirring the boys into determination, implanting essential truths that neither fade nor fracture under the brilliance of day. Echoing within this quiet restraint, the elders imbue the youth with comprehension deeper than any scar, a wisdom crowning Spartan resilience amid the ghosts in the dark. In the austere realm of Sparta's Agoge, a place where tenderness is as rare as rain in the desert, tears are a currency that can only purchase contempt. To step into this unyielding sanctuary of discipline is to embrace the notion that emotions must be vanquished. In Spartan philosophy, crying is not just a show of weakness, it's the whisper of treason against an ideal that demands every heartbeat resonate with strength and stoicism. Those who allow their emotions to break free, even for a moment, risk facing not only the derision of peers, but the cold-eyed judgment of their instructors. In these harsh halls, a single tear can unleash a tempest of fists from fellow cadets, eager to assert their own resilience by preying on the vulnerability of others. The barracks come alive with this brutal ballet, a testament to the Spartan ethos that demands purity of resolve. To show weakness is to invite a silent vow amongst the trainees, committing them to purge themselves of any fragility. In the dim, watchful silence, instructors stand like sentinels, their gaze a cold, unwavering assessment, challenging each young boy to master his outbursts or risk the consequences. Pain, both physical and emotional, becomes a relentless companion. It is here, among the echoes of stifled sobs and whispered ridicule, that the transformation begins. A passage from sorrow to the kind of hardened indifference that casts emotions into forgotten shadows. Amidst the cold indifference that permeates every corner of Spartan life, silence breeds strength. You learn quickly that emotion, if ever acknowledged, only fuels your plight and fans the flames of mockery and scorn. Surrounded by stoic peers, each struggling silently beneath a heavy yoke of expectations, you understand the true cost of expressing pain. Each day blurs into the next, a symphony of grueling routine punctuated by injuries shrugged off as deductions from an unyielding ledger of endurance. Pain, now devoid of complaint or lament, becomes a part of you. It weaves a hidden language, articulated through stoic glances and gestures that transform suffering into a badge of belonging and bitter pride. In these enduring encounters, the language of pain transcends beyond mere discomfort to become a dialect of its own within the barracks. Every bruise, every scar is not a mark of shame, but a silent testament to inner resilience. Within this cryptic language, perspectives evolve, with peers and instructors alike sharing in an unspoken understanding. Among comrades, eyes carry messages of solidarity, wordless yet profound, a shared acknowledgement of the shared trials each endures. Though no story is spoken aloud, these marks narrate a saga of endurance and grit, a candid communication of survival, cherished and understood among all. The first wail of a boy, caught in the throes of this harsh initiation, rings out as both a plea for mercy and the unmistakable announcement of his trial. This rare outburst serves as a clarion call to his peers, inviting an unsparing examination of his will. The response is unyielding and swift. Scorn replaces sympathy, and steely eyes replace soft hands, treating this lament as treacherous betrayal. A brief concession to weakness that must be excised. The eerie silence following his cries becomes a haunting reminder of the transgression, a psychological etching that scars deeper than any physical blow. In this communal theatre of discipline, the role of enforcer belongs not only to your tutors, but also to the very peers who stand beside you. Each misstep or fall invites the collective weight of their judgment, as boys become the judges, eager to mirror the stoic ideals drilled into them. In this self-policing world, the peer enforcer acts out of fear and necessity, ensuring that everyone toes the line. Through cruel reprisals, they reinforce Spartan values, a web of dependencies binding all in their silent struggle for acceptance and survival. Yet beneath the hardened facade, a subtle dance unfolds. Inside every stoic exterior beats a heart still vulnerable to despair, a tender reminder revealed during solitary nights when exhaustion peels back layers of defense. These hidden battles with lingering anguish are often unseen, fought in the quiet spaces between gritted teeth and clenched fists. As you navigate these perilous waters, instilling distance between yourself and despair becomes a discipline of its own. With each passing day, the relentless challenges forge you into an embodiment of resolve, a Spartan stoic rising from the ashes of hardship. This metamorphosis is neither sudden nor easy. It is a painstaking assembly of small victories against the crushing weight of struggle. The notion of pain morphs into silent resolve, every ache and bruise a testament to a warrior in the making, embracing and transcending the harsh pedagogy of his culture. Nightly, the shadows within the barracks lengthen with a haunting persistence, bringing the unseen eyes of guardianship among the sleeping novices. These spectral figures embody judgment, observing without sentiment, each movement catalogued for future reckoning. Yet such scrutiny becomes a proving ground, a haunting yet vital presence, guiding you to align with Spartan ideologies in a very real exchange of influence. In retrospect, from your position of hard-won perspective, you glance back upon early moments of weakness. Far from dissolving under ridicule, these memories become silent oaths to honour Spartan perseverance. These echoes of past failings serve as crystal progenitors, fragments of experience that mature into understanding. Through each trial and silent triumph, you emerge gradually, sculpted not into mere soldierly obedience, but into a resilient force, tempered by every challenge faced within these walls. The complete metamorphosis from softness to granite bears witness not only to Spartan endurance, but to the artful forging of spirit. Each hardship is not merely endured, but becomes a vital thread in the unbreakable tapestry of the Spartan legacy. The chill of pre-dawn air bites into your skin as you rise from the hard ground, each muscle screaming in protest. The night's trials linger in your bones, a testament to the endurance it demands. There is no respite. The relentless pace of Spartan life brooks no luxury of rest. Each dawn calls you forward, pulling you away from the softness of your former self into the inexorable march towards becoming Spartan. Emerging into the grey light, you find a community forged not from friendship, but from shared adversity. Eyes meet briefly, acknowledging camaraderie and suffering. This bond, though unspoken, defies the stoic isolation enforced upon you. Survival here entails not just physical endurance, but an emotional passage through which innocence is shed. The barracks become a crucible where the fires of hardship burn away vulnerability, leaving behind a hardened essence, albeit scarred. Your emotional armour becomes integral, a second skin replacing the tenderness of a former life. Tears and fears are suppressed beneath a facade of stone, slowly setting into an intrinsic part of you. This stoicism, born of desperation, becomes your truth, necessary for traversing the intricate landscape of Spartan society, where any sign of weakness invites peril. The child who stepped into these barracks fades, obscured by a persona of cold, impassive strength. The marks of countless nights etch stories into your flesh, scars mapping the territories of survival. Victory here is not glory but endurance, each scar a testament to battles fought in silence and darkness against others and oneself. Pain becomes both an adversary and a tutor, its temporary sting imparting lessons of resilience that shape your perception of strength in a brutal world where empathy is vulnerability and hardship is vital education. Despite the isolation inherent in the barracks, a brotherhood takes root, cultivated from necessity. This fraternity is not by choice, but survival demands collective resilience. Bonds form through shared trials, acts of kindness, exhausted understanding after error, and alliances tempered in the forge of suffering. Compassion scarce outside these walls makes friendships within their confines invaluable, providing humanity amidst dehumanizing rigor. This sense of brotherhood, silent but resilient, is a subversion against the espionage and distrust taught by Spartan law. Loyalty grows in the darkness, unspoken pacts binding you to those who bear witness to your nightly trials. These associations humanize your existence, providing strength and kinship that protect against the emptiness outside. Together, your shared journey promises resilience against the trials yet to come. The memories you carry are carved into your sinew and bone. Each night, conditioning reflexes and sculpting muscle memory marks the map on your body. These past trials become the proverbs of self-preservation. Each mistake a warning against future errors, etched into the landscape of your being. Vigilant, always braced against potential danger, your training reacts before thought, in a world where vigilance secures survival. The past informs your every movement, each breath drawn with awareness, honed by lessons learned in pain. Surviving night after night brings no reprieve. The continuous trial refines you, but also leaves a residue of loss. There are no celebrations, only ongoing transformation, marked as surely by each dawn as any milestone. Every morning solidifies your place in this process, confirming your slow metamorphosis into something fiercely Spartan, part of an unfolding trial that redefines you repeatedly. The world beyond the barracks appears increasingly alien, mundane life redefined within your sharpened perception. Where others see normalcy, you see tactical battlegrounds and potential dangers. Constant vigilance heightens your senses, turning every interaction into strategic assessment. driven by survival instincts honed in disciplined hardship. This evolution is both protection and constraint, forever seeing life through a hard-edged lens of learned strategy. Emotion, once a free current, is stifled into a miserly economy. Feelings are managed ruthlessly, stored and shelved as impractical indulgences in a world demanding pragmatism. Your restraint is instinctual, born from reality's harsh teaching. Emotions are present but forcibly subdued, expressed with precision only when they align with Spartan necessities. An economy bred in the Barracks' relentless pressure. The resilience that emerges exacts a cost. An inner austerity replacing youthful innocence with knowledge skeptical of warmth. Every strength born from trials exacts a price, whispering of a hollowness that masks strength built on hardship. This resilience, admired and respected, bears its own burden of forever altered perceptions, depth achieved at the cost of simplicity lost. Yet, as the morning sun casts its first light, there is solace in knowing you've endured. An unyielding rhythm emerges, not as dawn breaks, but as another chapter in the journey you relentlessly pursue. Childhood reflects back an evolution, a silent nod to the boy who once stood naive, aspirations untethered. The dawn is not a daybreak, but a continuum, drawing you deeper into Spartan tradition. It whispers truth as it encapsulates another night survived. The first light marking a legacy of those tempered in hardship, their innocence dimmed, yet their spirit indomitable. If the journey through the night intrigued you, make sure to like and subscribe. There is much more to explore in the labyrinth of ancient tales, where history holds its secrets close, ready to be unravelled.